Hi, so today we're going to learn about solitary confinement. This is one of the most important concepts in IPC. So in order to learn solitary confinement, for that matter, any concept, we will learn so perfectly when we do our real world problems. Okay, let's see a problem. Well, here, the problem number 1. Rambo convicted in murder and sentenced to 7 years jail term. Will he also get solitary confinement? If yes, what is the term? This question or this stanza may come in your civil judge exam as a preliminary multiple choice question, or it may be asked on your main exam and elaborate based on this. You need to write on what is about IPC section 73 and then 74, that is about limitations and all those stuff. When you know solitary confinement, then you're able to understand what are the calculations, what are the method to give solitary confinement to the convicted person. So we're going to discuss all those after seeing I have noted down 4 problems to make you so perfect on this solitary confinement. So let's see 4 problems and then we'll come and solve all these problems so that you will understand crystal clearly. Okay, this is the second problem. Rambo murdered Richard. Okay, are there any chances to get solitary confinement? First you need to understand what is solitary confinement. We'll come to that. Whoa, this is a huge question. Richard would compensate. This is actually testing your patience and intelligence on these questions. I'll come back to these questions again once I explain what is solitary confinement, how it calculates, and what are the limitations, what are the gap between the terms between the solitary confinement to another solitary confinement. So I will come back. And then these are the straightforward questions. You need to understand the terms, the term gaps, how much given, what is if the main jail term is X amount, and what is the Y amount of solitary confinement, all the stuff this is asking. For example, if jail term is 3 months, then what is the maximum term of solitary confinement term is possible, right? So now it's time to know what is solitary confinement, and this is as per the section 73-74 per Bear Act. If you're able to understand all this and if you're able to understand all this at a glance, that's great, but that is not too easy. So here the Reenat actually coming to play. Solitary confinement is simply defined, and these are the notes and these are the table. With these two, we are able to understand very clearly and we are able to answer any kind of question that comes. So let's see in a clearer picture. Wow, this is the one. Living in a single cell with little or no meaningful contact to other inmates is a solitary confinement. If a person is thrown into the jail and he will be live all 7 days or 14 days of the first episode or period that be given in the sentence order, so that is actually the solitary confinement. This image represents he is sitting alone, and then he will have no contact to any other person or any other inmates even. So sometimes there is a chance that they may give a little contact just to see how he's doing, because it's a mental torture. Living in a single cell is a big problem. So solitary confinement has a limitations. It cannot be given more than 3 months, irrespective of whatever the term is, but there are certain calculations, certain scales and measurements. This table represents that. Okay, If imprisonment term is 3 months, then SC solitary confinement is up to 1 month. So if a person is convicted in a theft case and is sentenced for 3 months, so during his theft he also brutally hit some person. So that is like a first graded crime, hitting brutally, and he is a habitual person of repeating this kind of. So judge thought and he should go to the solitary confinement, and then he given 1 month. He can't give 2 months out of 3 months because that is a limitation what says IPC. So there is two terms you need to understand. What is the main term, that is 3 months, and what is SC term, up to 1 month. He may give 15 days or he may give 20 days or he give max 30 days. The limitation is if a person is given 3 months of main term and 1 month of solitary confinement. This 1 month is part of 3 months. So during these 3 months, this 1 month solitary confinement have to be given. So at a time, it should be given only 14 days of solitary confinement. That means you should kept in alone in one cell for only 14 days. There should be a gap of 14 days. So on March 1st, if a person is went to jail, solitary confinement, on 14th he came out, so on 15th or 16th he is not supposed to go. He's supposed to go after 14 days, 28, on 29th he is supposed to go, 29th of March. This is the calculation. Generally, 14 days is a bare minimum, but the jailer will have this also here calculations. So he'll make sure at least 14 days. He may give after 1 month or 15 days, something like that. So these are the calculations, or these are the limitations, and gap is most important. Likewise, up to 6 months. This is also same 1 month, but 7 days is only at a time. Should be confined into solitary confinement, and the gap should be 1 month. Between 6 months to 1 year, it's a 2 month solitary confinement and 7 days at a time, and 1 month gap should be given. If more than 1 year, up to 3 months is a solitary confinement and 7 days at a time, and 1 month gap should be given between one solitary confinement to another solitary confinement. That's all about solitary confinement. That's it. If you remember this table, then you're done. You can answer anything. So that's why I kept questions before, and I want to solve after when you watch this slide. So I'm revising this table quickly one more time. Up to 3 months, SC term is 1 month, 14 days at a time, 14 days gap. Up to 6 months, same 1 month confinement time and 7 days gap, 7 days maximum, and 1 month. Between 6 months and 1 year, up to 2 months, and SC limitation is 7 days and then 1 month. Gap is 1 month. Likewise, more than a year, up to 3 months solitary confinement and 7 days at a time, 1 month should be given gap between 2 terms. Well, now go to the problems. So I brought this table to answer this. Well, you can answer easily, but I'll tell you. Rambo convicted in murder and sentenced to 7 years jail term. Will he also get a solitary confinement? If yes, what is the term? 7 years, so it's more than a year. He can get 3 months, and this calculations 7 days at a time and 1 month is between the terms. But think closely. I just want to create, I kept this question purposefully to think twice before you choose the answer or before you give answer. Saying Rambo convicted in murder and sentenced to 7 years jail term. Will he also get solitary confinement? There are two chances. He may get, he may not get. If the murderer is very brutal and he is, a highly psychic kind of person, then judge thinks that's a fit, then he will get the solitary confinement. It all depends on the case to case. It's not mandatory that if it is a murder, then he will go to the solitary confinement also. If it is not murder, even a rape or a kidnap, if it is in a psychic way and a first grade crime, then the judges will think of this solitary confinement. This kind of. It depends on the convicted person's behavior and all those stuff. So in this case, the answer is maybe. It's not yes, it's not no. If you think very closely, generally, if the options are given, yes, 1 year, yes, 2 years, yes, 3 months, yes, then 4 months, just like that, then it is more than a year. 7 years jail term is a more than a year, so he should get up to 6 months and 7 days. The same question, same kind of question if you get in mains exam, a written exam, not in a multiple choice one, for instance. So you need to answer this way. So IPC section 73-74 talks about this, and 73 talks about how to give, and 74 talks about what should be the gap and the calculations. And this is up to 3 months. SC term is 1 month. Solitary confinement limitation is at a time is 14 days. Gap should be the 14 days. You will easily remember all these numbers. So this is the concept. Now let's go to the next problem. Well, the Rambo murdered Richard. Are there chances to get solitary confinement? Yes, there are. He did a murder, so there are chances that he will get a solitary confinement. Right? Yeah, how quickly you can answer once we know the concept. So it's a big problem, but we can easily answer if we can read the question at last. Then it's on your fingertip to answer. Let's see. Richard got compensation of 2 lakhs in residence orders in domestic violence case. Wow. In IPC is talking about domestic violence. I kept this purposefully. I'll tell you later. Against her husband Suman. Okay. Suman did pay the amount. I'm sorry, this is Suman did not pay the amount, nor he allow her to his residence. Breach of protection orders, and so this is a statement. Breach of protection orders punishable with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 1 year. This is a standard punishment clause in DVC. So will Suman get 6 months term? Will he also get solitary confinement? If yes, then what is the solitary confinement terms would be? I'll give you 1 second to think about it before you expect me to answer. The question is Suman. So Suman will get 6 months term. Will he also get solitary confinement? If yes, then what is the solitary confinement terms would be? So you read this, right? So I'm smart because I know the answer. It's talking about domestic violence. Domestic violence is a beneficial law. So there is nothing, if the protection breach orders happens also, there is nothing about solitary confinement. So this question will not attract solitary confinement. Answer yes. So the answer is no. And these are the pretty straightforward questions. It's a simple. If jail term is 3 months, what is the maximum term of solitary confinement term is possible? 14 days. Right. If 6 months, 7 days. 1 year, 7 days. What is the minimum number of days that solitary confinement terms can be given at a time? Minimum 7 days, maximum 14 days. what is the gap should be given from solitary confinement and another. It's a 14 days if it is 1 month in this, and then 1 month, 1 because he received the maximum SC term. That's all. This is all about solitary confinement, and this is one of the important concept. It will definitely come in your exams, and you will now, with this stories and the way we solve the answers, you're able to write clearly for sure. Thank you very much, Reenat.